Hey guys, Queen Novella here, back again with yet another video. Now, this is kind of a mini review, but I don't want to give anything away. I'll at least try not to. Anyways, I want to do another review for this movie, but I'm going to wait till I get a new computer. I want to do a more in-depth review. I had recently saw the Lion King remake the other day, and being the Lion King trash fan that I am, I wanted to tell you guys my opinion on the remake and whether I think it worked or not. I've seen some good reviews for it, I've seen some bad reviews. I'll be honest with you guys, I had mixed feelings about it. Yeah, I'm one of the few people who's kind of in the middle about it. Okay, so I want to start this video off on a positive note. So I will tell you guys things I liked about the remake. Okay, first of all, I'll admit the scenery is beautiful and the live action does look really lifelike, but that can be a good and a bad thing. I'll get to that later. I also liked the new voice actors and the way they voiced their characters. I mean, except for maybe Beyonce as Nala. I was hoping she'd do better, but a lot of people found she was miscast, but I was at first... This is going to sound really weird, okay? But I was actually excited to hear that Beyonce was Nala. I mean, she has a great voice, and I feel that she had potential, but I just don't think it was executed in the best way possible. But Chiwetel Ejiofor as Scar in the remake got a lot of flack because Jeremy Irons' performance was literally so perfect in the original, but Chiwetel Ejiofor actually grew on me. I actually liked his performance. He actually did a really good job for being after Jeremy Irons. Now, I know Jeremy Irons tends to overact a little bit, but he really brought that character to life in the original. And I think Chiwetel Ejiofor did a pretty good job of putting his own spin on Scar, making him angrier. Okay, you'll probably remember when I talked about a rumor that Be Prepared was being removed from the Lion King remake, and I will tell you guys, it is still in the Lion King remake, but it's an altered version. The reason that they wanted to omit the song from the Lion King remake originally was because of the Nazi illusion that was seen in Be Prepared, which I think omitting the song altogether defeats the entire purpose of the metaphor of the movie, but okay. But I guess they heard fans' call because they had a version of Be Prepared in the movie. I mean, I love the original version of Be Prepared. It's probably one of my favorite songs in the movie. It really set up Scar's character in the original movie where you know he meant business. I think the new Be Prepared works, but in a different sort of way. It actually, in a way, was much darker and sinister. Even though it was shorter, like, in some ways, it was more effective than the original. Which, I will make a new video all about that because I love that song so much. Ironically, I was so scared that they'd screw up Be Prepared, but that's actually one of the few things I'm complaining the least about. And anyways, guys, I will talk about now the bad things. Like I said before, guys, the extremely lifelike did look pretty at first until you realize how it affected the way you related to the characters. Now, I have watched the video by a YouTuber called Toon Ruins, I think, where she explains it perfectly why the animation style didn't work, and she used the Chronicles of Narnia, the 2005 version, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, she used Aslan as an example of what they could have done better, and I couldn't agree with her more. So I recommend you check out that video in the description below. Just letting you know there are spoilers for the movie if you haven't watched it, but I'd recommend you watch the original because it's just better in every way. Anyways, she had said that the characters. Okay, let me bring you back to one of the things that people liked about the original. A lot of people praised the way they did the facial expressions. The key word here is facial expressions. How the characters were so relatable, for one reason, was because of the good job they did with the expressions. Like, you know when a character's happy, scared, or horrified by looking at their face. Someone who studies animation will understand this, like the limitations of. They'll understand the limits of 2D animation, but they'll also understand the limits of making it as lifelike as possible. With the original film, you can make their faces almost as flexible as you want, and you can tell what they're thinking just by their face, which is actually a very important thing for humans to relate to characters, is in the facial expressions. I mean, it's not everything, obviously, but it's one of the main important things. Jon Favreau actually expressed that he didn't like how the Jungle Book remake, at least the visuals, turn out, because he said they weren't realistic enough, which he tried to make them even more realistic in this movie, to the point where there are no facial expressions at all. Like, I cannot tell what they're thinking by looking at their face. I think the voice actors had to make up for it, which, don't get me wrong, they all did a pretty good job, besides maybe Beyonce, but that's another story. But some people have said this all the time, they always look like, no matter which situation they're in, unless they're in a fight, they look like they're watching paint dry. I'm serious, it's true. I mean, like, I read online before I watched the movie that the movie lacked soul. I'm like, what does it mean by that? Then I watched the movie and I'm like, oh, I see what they're talking about now. Yeah, I mean, I can't tell what the characters are thinking just by looking at their face, which is actually something very important. Like Toon Ruins explains, you are showing this to a human audience. A lion isn't going to look at it and say, wow, that's so lifelike. I mean, it might, but it's not gonna praise it. But anyways, she explains that it's much harder for a human being to connect to the characters because you can't see any facial expressions, because it's too lifelike. And she uses Aslan as an example of live-action animals that you're trying to connect to done right. Now, I'll leave a link to that video in the description because I can't explain it any better than she does. Like, I couldn't possibly. Like, with some scenes in the movie, you guys know The Lion King, it's a very emotional story, and, I mean, gee, I'm a grown woman and I cry every time I see some scenes in the movie. Like, at least I tear up. But with this one, I was so shocked that I didn't tear up at all. Like, is there something wrong with me? But it was because it wasn't, the way the style was done wasn't as powerful as the original. Like, I didn't feel that it was as powerful as the original because you couldn't see the sheer horror on their faces, or them being sad, them being happy. You just couldn't see that in their face. I mean, the hyenas, I think, were the ones least affected by this because they always look like they're smiling. And I like the way one of the leader hyena, Shenzi, was portrayed. I mean, the hyenas in the original movie were portrayed as being funny. Even the leader, Shenzi, like, she had a sense of humor. But I liked the way the new actor portrayed her. I know the original actor was Whoopi Goldberg, but the new actor, I think her first name's Florence. Anyways, I liked her of Shenzi. She was way more serious and concerned about feeding her people. I also liked how they explained more things in the Lion King remake. There are theories that Mufasa was a tyrant from the original movie because he banished all the hyenas, and that, well, I'll get into that in another video. I will explain why I do not think Mufasa was a tyrant. Just hear me out before if anybody gets mad and believes in this theory wholeheartedly. Because he had banished the hyenas from the Pride Lands, and it really does explain why he had to banish the hyenas in this movie. It explains it better than in the original. I mean, even the Lion Guard explained it a little bit. It touched on it a little bit in the first episode, but that was it. Anyways, guys, what are my overall thoughts on this movie? I would say it was good, but not as good as I hoped it would be. I felt with some things, like for every step forward they took, they may have taken maybe one back. It was good, but it could have been better. Anyways, guys, sorry this video was so long. I just had a lot to say on this. I mean, I am Lion King trash after all. How can I not? But anyways, guys, I am going to make another review for this movie, maybe after my thoughts have time to set in. Maybe I'll find a new appreciation for the movie. Maybe I'll go fully ballistic on it like the angry video game nerd when I review it again. But anyways, guys, tell me what you thought of the Lion King remake. Was it good? Was it bad? Or are you on the fence about it like me? Anyways, guys, with all that being said, I'm Queen Novella, and bye!